Previously on Raging Echoes. So for my first region, Asgarnia is just really good. I picked it in both previous leagues, but this time I want to do something a bit different. Welcome to my first region, Varlamore. So the reason I wanted to pick this is I think it has a good balance of having some strong mid to late game gear while also having a lot of really good early game content. And it actually was between Varlamore and Asgarnia for like what do I want my armor to be, because Asgarnia has like God Wars Dungeon and Bandos, while Varlamore has the Perilous Moons and the Blood Moon armor. And I decided if I went with one, I really didn't need the other. So yes, I'm not going to be picking Asgarnia this league. Varlamore did replace it. So there's a lot of things I've been waiting for Varlamore to do, but the first things I want to work on is one, doing some thieving. I gained access to a bunch of new stalls that will allow me to complete some tasks, as well as the wealthy citizens, so I'd like to train my thieving up for them. They're level 50, so at least getting to 50 thieving to try and work on those tasks. The other thing is, well, there's just a bunch of new early game tasks in Varlamore, so I'd like to run around and try and knock out a bunch of those. Also, now that I finished with the whole early game route, I'm not going to be showing as many of the tasks I do. Even between episodes, I did knock out a few around Wizard Tower, because the Lesser Demon didn't have a queue, so I took advantage of that while I could. But yeah, so I'm going to be working on thieving now and trying to knock out some smaller tasks. Well, that was a bit close. So I forgot to bring food when I ran around to do some of the easy tasks and decided to go kill 10 frost crabs, because I mean, they're frost crabs, how bad can it be? But I ran out of fire runes, so I couldn't keep fire striking them for the bonus damage, and they got my health up pretty low there. I did at least manage to kill the 10 for the task, unlocking my third relic, and also got some defense and magic levels in the process. But yeah, the third relic unlock. So this tier is teleport relics, and honestly, all of them are really good. It just depends on your preference and regions. Fairy's Flight is returning from last league. Teleport to any fairy ring, spirit tree, and any tool leprechauns, so really good for farming. Bank Heist can go to any bank, and Clue Compass can go to any stash unit as well as your active clue step. Now this is really powerful if you want to complete clues, but outside of clues, it might not be the best, and in the regions I want, I think Bank Heist is actually better. I don't know, maybe it will turn out that this was just a really stupid thing to pick, and Clue Compass would have just been superior for the time it saves on clues. But I don't know how many clues I actually plan to do this league, and I feel like the time save for this to access not just banks, but the content near banks might be greater, so I don't know, maybe it'll be a silly choice, but at worst I just have to do clues at normal speed, which still isn't that bad. So yeah, there's the banker's briefcase. And yeah, let's actually see the teleport interface. I haven't get to see it yet, but yeah, that's a lot of different clue locations, or not clue locations, bank locations. Now, I did hear, though, it doesn't have Alderaan yet and some of the other locations in Varlamore, if that's the word. But I don't know, still a lot of locations that should make it a lot easier to get around. So I've been working on thieving, which started to go very quickly once I got to wealthy citizens, but I decided to take a break and do Death on the Isle, because it gives thieving and agility experience, which should get me, a lot of league points there, because I got not only Death on the Isle, which I think, not sure if that, it was a hard task, and then my first level 60 or 70 skill, as well as a bunch of other levels there, so getting really close to the next tier of relic. So I finished using up those keys I got off Wealthy Citizens, and it got me to 72 thieving and nearly 100k cash stack. But one of the reasons I wanted to take Varlamore as my first region is a very good moneymaker it has access to. So if you remember from last league, gems are kind of OP because you can profit with them. Varlamore not only has a gem shop, it has rubies. So if I buy this ruby, it costs like 100. I can now cut it, get a good bit of crafting experience, and sell it for 700. So I profit like 600. More realistically, if I buy in or sell in bulk, it's going to be like 560. But yeah, this is going to be a very profitable way to train crafting. So I'm going to do this for a bit to build up a bit more of a cash stacks to fund some plans I have. But yeah, we'll see what crafting level I get to. Well, this was probably the best method I've done so far in the league. I was getting around 1 million experience per hour, which would be around 930k cash per hour. But yeah, I didn't need that much right now, so I decided to stop at 800k, which also got me to 72 crafting, which nicely matches thieving up here. But now I'm going to go spend some of the money on things like getting pickaxe upgrades and some combat gear, because I want to start working on my combats now. Turns out I didn't have access to that pickaxe shop I was thinking of yet, but I still was able to spend most of the cash stack on a bunch of different items and upgrades, like these chaos runes here, so I'm now ready to start working on combat. The reason I've been putting it off is because with tier 3, the passive I forgot to mention, but that is double combat experience as well as a bunch of Slayer perks. So this means instead of having 8 times combat experience, I now have 16 times, while the other skills are still 8. So yeah, combat's trained a lot faster now. But before I start training my combats, I also want to work on my combat masteries. So this is a new system with this league, where instead of getting a combat relic focused on one style, you can spend points in a skill tree for all 3 styles. Generally, you'll probably want to max out one style with 6 points and then put the remaining 4 points between the other 2. But you have a lot more flexibility about builds, and you're pretty much forced to be a hybrid this time instead of just solely one style. And the first mastery point you can get is from killing a giant. Okay, that wasn't quite as quick as I expected it to be, but yeah, there is my first giant kill, which gets me a mastery point, and I don't need that. So yeah, now I can go to combat masteries and spend my point. So in previous leagues, I've always focused on melee over the other styles, but now with the mastery system, I kind of have to pick at least 2 styles, even if I primary in one. So to start off, I'm actually going to be investing in range. So this might be a bit of an unusual choice, but yeah. Just trust the process. You know, I probably should tell you what the mastery actually does. So for the first tier of mastery, the ranged one makes it so your minimum hit is equal to 30% of your max hit, which is just a nice consistency bonus, so you're not going to hit zeros or low hits as often. The passive effect for every tier 1 mastery is making it so you have a 95% chance to save ammunition, runes, and weapon charges, and this applies to all spells, not just combat spells. So yeah, that's part of the reason I want to unlock this before doing any training, so I don't go through arrows as quickly, and these chaos runes will last a really long time. With that said, time to finish a quest for some experience. And there we go. And that's a lot of attack experience, also a task for completing it, and I went from 2 to 47 attacks, so now I can use most weapons and it should be a lot quicker to train up my melees. But what I'm going to do now is actually go train ranged, because I don't think I have a great way to train it aside from just going to sand crabs and Varlamore, so yeah, I'm going to use that, or do that to get some early range levels. Good news, they added the Alderan teleport to the banker's briefcase, which definitely will come in handy. It was a bit annoying to take the bird over here every time, and also I think this teleport might be my closest to a fairy ring right now, even if it's not the closest fairy ring. Aside from that though, I have been training up my combats a bit. I decided to stop at 50 range because I didn't want to do too much now before getting the other masteries, which is the next thing I'd like to work on. So for the next mastery, I should probably do the defeat 10 monsters of 100 or more combat. But I could do that now, but I think it would be a little nicer and easier if I got my prayer up first. Unfortunately, I do have a plan to get prayer up for overheads, but I first need to get 20 prayer, which means I need to do Rag and Bone Man. So I guess I need to go collect some bones. So that quest was enough to get me to 25 prayer, which means I can claim the experience lamp from Shield of Arav, and also a Defender of Rock. Even though the quest auto-completes, you can claim the lamp, and that would get me well over 43 prayer for overheads. But one thing I didn't account for is that completing Rag and Bone Man got up my total level and also my combat level, which completed some league tasks and unlocked my 4th relic. Now, I was actually trying to hold off on this just because I didn't want to unlock it yet and wanted to spend a little more time before getting to tier 4. But yeah, all these relics I kind of don't want, similar to tier 2 where it just didn't feel like I needed any. Equilibrium's just more experience. Reloaded is cool to go back and pick a previous relic. I kind of wouldn't mind a tier 1 relic, but I just don't feel like any of these really fit with my plans well. So that leaves Golden God. Now, last year I did go Fire Sale, and this year I kind of didn't want to do the same. I wanted to have to work a little more for my money, but all the effects of Golden God just seem like the best choice long-term for what I want to do. It makes alching free, and it has a chance to save items with more gold, auto alching too, which is just really good for magic experience. And the thing that's relevant now is you can use 20k coins on an altar and it will act as a dragon bone. And this is any altar, not even just the player-owned house altars. So also you can buy from shops noted. So pretty much just allows you to get infinite money because you get more from buying, or you can buy stuff from shops and alch it for more than you spent. And it also means it'll be a pretty decent way to get some prayer levels. So rather than use these experience lamps on prayer, I think it makes sense to unlock Golden God now. And then I can work on getting up my cast stack a bit more with it, and use that to train up my prayer to at least 43. Well, I have to say, Golden God is a bit nicer than I was expecting, and I'm kind of glad it came earlier than I had planned. It hasn't snowballed my cash stack that quickly. I went to the Stonemason for a bit even, and got up to 6 mil, but I decided that's enough for now, because it will take around, I think, 4.6 mil to get to 60 prayer, which seemed like a good stopping point, especially because I'm actually not that far off the next tier of relic. I've been knocking out some small tasks while going around alking, and the next tier of relic will have 12 times experience multiplier, which goes to 24 for combat skills. Oh, also, I forgot to mention in the previous clip, but Tier 4 gives 5 times drop rate and 8 times minigame points, which will be nice, but not quite yet. So, yeah. Also, as you see, I'm alching silk here, because one thing I found out, this silk merchant sells up to 50 at a time, and it always stays 15 GP, even if you buy 50, and it does have a pretty good return on investment. So it's not a lot of money per alch, but it's something very easy to buy in bulk, just do a bunch of alchs that do profit. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for alchs. Also, I was running around doing a bunch of easy tasks I've been putting off. I did manage to get some cosmic runes to make an amulet of power, which will be nice, because, well, once I get up my prayer here, I'm going to go off to the Colosseum. There is 60 prayer, and with this gear and stats, Soul won't even know what hit him. Okay, I'm not actually going to fight Soul. I'm just going to do Wave 1 the Colosseum, because there's the Fremnik Warband. All 3 of them are over 100 combat, so they count for the 10 NPCs over 100 combat for the mastery point. And if you stay moving, they don't hit you, and you always max hit if you use the style they're weak to. So it seems like a pretty easy way to get the kills for that mastery point. That said, I've never done the Colosseum before, so it might not go that easily, but I feel like with overhead prayers especially, I should be fine. Well, that wasn't so bad. In some waves I did die after only killing 1, but yeah, I did manage to clear enough of them to get the mastery point, which will be going for the 2nd tier of ranged. So, yeah, now my ranged attacks are going to be a little bit stronger. I actually don't remember exactly what this one does. Yeah, increases damage going 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, then back down to 5%. Also, all healing is now 20% better. Now to see if I can finish up this wave. So aside from the Moon's armors, there are 3 reasons I wanted to pick Varlamore. The first was crafting, so I could do the rubies at the gem shop. The second was thieving, so I could do the house keys. And the third is hunter. This is also why I picked the harpoon for the never fail at hunter, and why I rushed birdhouses early on, so I could get to 46 so I could start hunter rumors. But aside from Hunter Rumors, Varlamore also has some really nice early game gear you can get from Hunter with mixed hide armor. So yeah, I want to start on Hunter Rumors now and see if I can get up to 72 for the Sunlight Antelopes so I can get myself a full set of mixed hide armor before I go for the next mastery points. And there is full mixed hide armor. So yeah, Hunter went pretty quickly. I ended up staying a bit longer to get some tasks like the 25 Antelope, and I also went to 10 Hunter Rumors and got the 500 Chins for those tasks as well. So a little over the target level, but oh well, that'll just help a little more later. So yeah, mixed hide armor. It's a really nice ranged melee armor, but I need to train a bit more to use it. I got my stats trained up for this nice mixed tide armor here, and now I think I'm ready to go for the next mastery point, which will be the next one in the list, to defeat Scurius. I also went ahead and caught myself some Moonlight Moths because they act like a prayer potion. There are 2 doses of prayer pot pretty much. So hopefully between my gear, my stats, and these supplies, I will be able to take it down. I'm not expecting it to be too hard, but I don't know, it still feels like I'm a little low level even though I have some powerful relics. Defeating Scurius wasn't that hard. I didn't even use that many supplies, but it also wasn't very quick. It was like a 6-minute long kill, and I got 2 range levels in the process, so I definitely want some gear upgrades before I go back to farm it for the spines or experience. That said, I can get a pretty nice upgrade right now because I got another mastery point from it, and I will be picking the 3rd range mastery, which it reduces attack speed, but pretty much it just means all weapons go 1 tick faster, and it also means all styles, melee, magic, and range get 100% more accuracy, so pretty much like double accuracy. So yeah, this is a really powerful mastery to get, and pretty much means my short bow goes from 3 tick to 2 tick, which is like a 50% speed increase. So that alone is just a huge damage boost for ranged weapons. And I think that's where I'm going to wrap up the episode. I know I'm only a couple tasks away from my next region, but, well, you'll just have to tune in next time to see what I pick. Though to give a small teaser, it's changed a lot since I last been there. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Until next time, goodbye.